Come on down, baby. Come on down. It is struggling. Everything. PJNet.TV. It's 9 p.m. on the East Coast, and you are watching the live bumper. And we are recording and streaming this to YouTube, to Facebook, and to Twitter. And our guest is, I believe, standing by in our green room, and our chat room is waiting to hear from her. So we're going to start our countdown to Studio 36 Alpha. Well, good evening and welcome to PJNet.TV, right back there. I'm your host, Coach Prasic, and I sure am glad to be here. And tonight, if we do this about once a month, Lori Hayes comes and joins us, and she is standing by in our green room. And you can notice by the artwork behind me, she always has something new. Okay, one of the hardest working souls you will ever meet in your life. Here she is, live and in person, from her beautiful home somewhere in the Carolinas or somewhere, I don't know. It's in the Eastern time zone. I know that. Lori, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, well, I'm a little bit nervous about being on the air, aren't you?
No.
No? Oh, speaking...
Yeah, I'm getting used to this.
Yeah, I almost let the cat out of the bag. But next month you have an announcement, right?
Yeah.
A big announcement. But we don't have to wait a month, because I don't know when you have time, but I can see by the artwork behind me, Coastal Christmas is on your mind, and the cover reveal is like now.
Yes.
We're just getting started.
I wanted to share it with my PJNet family.
Well, how sweet of you. This is not the first time you've done that. Now, didn't you have another cover earlier that you ditched in favor of this one?
They removed a tagline on there that they decided they didn't want. So.
Oh. Well, as long as they
so
do
we
the
made
work.
Adjustments. Yeah. Yeah, I don't do the artwork.
So is it obviously Christmas is a theme of the book, but my question is this. You're writing the book now. It's not the Christmas season. You would think, or I would think, not being a writer, you got to kind of get in that Christmas mood, don't you?
Yes.
So how did you do that?
So I actually wrote this in 2019, but I was editing it last year, and it was summertime, and I remember turning on my Christmas music, and I was so into it. And I don't even like Christmas music that much. And I'm singing Christmas songs, and my daughter's loving it because she loves Christmas songs in June. And I was just really caught up in this Christmas scene. Bless you.
Well, I don't have a mute on my new microphone.
And then I decided to take a break, and I was scrolling on Facebook, and I started seeing people swimming in pools, and it just completely confused my mind because the air conditioner's on and I have Christmas music playing. In my mind, I thought it was cold, and I thought it was Christmas time. I'm in my scene. Then I see people swimming in a pool. It just messed me up.
Well, yeah, I guess you have to, well, did you put some stockings up around the house and,
No.
No, none of that.
No.
But
I don't decorate that much to begin with. I'm certainly not going to do that in the summer.
Now, for our writer friends out there, you have shared with us, and it's just a fact of life, if you're a writer, there's edits, and edits have deadlines. And
yes.
When you're doing edits, it's important to save your work.
It is. So just for the record, I usually do 3 edits, and then they send a proof to me, a proof, and then they send one final proof, which is on a PDF, and I had worked on it for 3.5 weeks solid, and I was just about finished, and it was after PJNet last month, and you and I were talking afterward, and when we got off the phone, my Mac died. And I thought I had been saving the PDF correctly, but I was saving it like a Word document on my Mac, like Control S. And I just kept it up on my screen all the time because I was always working on it. But when that Mac died and I pulled it back up, I realized I hadn't saved any of it, and my edits were due in 3 days. So I thought about asking for an extension. I mentioned it to my editor that what happened.
Yeah.
She didn't offer an extension, and I thought, no, I'm not going to ask for one. I can do this.
Yeah.
So I learned how to power read, as fast as I could. And I can't say that I caught every edit, but I did kind of remember what I had made changes on. So I ended up editing that. I had 3 days to do it, and I had 1 day left over. I was finished.
Did you?
And I turned it in a day early.
Okay, well, I mean, things like this happen. That something's kind of thrown in your lap unexpectedly. It doesn't have to be that. It could be a death in the family, whatever. But, you still have to eat. You're still a mom. You have to sleep. How did you manage?
I was on. Yeah. I had some extra time, and I don't know. It was just one of those days where, you still do your motherly duties and things like that, but you stay up late, you get up early, you do your mom duties, and then, I have teenagers, so they go to the rooms a lot, or they are out and about and busy. So I actually had some extra time, but I read it as fast as I could and just made the changes and turned it in. And I was just proud of myself because I don't like to be late for anything. And so I just felt good that I got it done in 2 days. So
Well,
it was crazy, but I would not want to do that again.
You didn't want to do it then.
Lesson learned.
Yeah.
But honestly, it felt like spiritual warfare because it was just one thing after another right before I turned it in. I've noticed it on both of these books. It's like somebody doesn't want these books out there. And this particular book, and it did bother me on the last one, but my eyes were bothering me. And I actually went to go get my hair highlighted. And for the first time in 25 years, my beautician said this has never happened in that time frame, but the highlights melted and they were running down my face and they got into my eyes, and they were burning my eyes. And somebody there had some of the teardrops thing in this, and I had contacts in, but I took them out, and I went to the eye doctor, and he had said, if you had come, I went to actually the next day because I'm tough and I don't like to go to the doctor, but
you work in that profession, don't you?
Yeah, and I kept washing it out, but I knew I needed to go. So he said, you need to get in here right now. Not an hour. You need to come in here right now. So I came in and he said, if you had come in here yesterday, I would have told you that you burnt your corneas, and that's what leads to blindness. He said, but you were lucky because this is the second fastest healing body part, and he said that it wasn't bad enough, but the whites in my eyes were burnt, and the whites had this highlight color in them. And and he told me that I couldn't wear my glasses for 2 weeks and that I needed to limit my computer time. This was during the edits, which is why it took me 3.5 weeks to do it, because I could barely stare at the screen long enough to do it. It was just kind of a nightmare. So then and then I had a sick family member, pretty seriously sick. And then I lost my manuscript. So I just really feel like this was spiritual warfare, and I was really glad when I actually turned this thing in.
Well, I'm kind of glad I wasn't around at the time, but were there others that were in your vicinity that might have had that same thought?
Yes. It seemed kind of apparent, kind of like the time that I wasn't supposed to go kayaking, and it just kept escalating, and then the kayak flew off the car on the highway.
I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember you telling us about it. I was not there. I was not.
Yeah. Anyway, it just sort of felt like that. But I just knew that it was God's will for me to get this book out. And I just kept praying about it. And it took a good solid month for my eyes to heal. But I was at the end of that month when I had 2 days or 3 days to finish this. So it was really actually pretty good timing, and prayer does wonders. So
Well, your eyes look fine,
I
but
turned it in.
yeah, don't try to recolor them. Don't highlight them. Don't recolor them. Just leave them the way God made them. And I promise you, Lori, that will never happen to me. But it's just
And somebody said, "Well, that's what you get for highlighting your hair." That was
well,
not what I wanted to hear.
yeah, nothing wrong with that. I guess. Yeah, I wouldn't know, to be honest. I don't do that.
You're tongue tied, but
I
anyway,
used to
it was
bleach
just
my hair.
very interesting.
I used to bleach my hair when I was in high school and college because
Oh,
all the wrestlers had that bleach blonde, peroxide
the
blonde
sun
hair.
in.
Yeah, well, no, I mean,
Yeah.
whatever, and but I had longer hair back then. I had hair longer than yours.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I want to see a picture.
you do. Well, do this. Watch a Rambo movie. That's pretty much how I looked.
No, I want to see yours like that.
You'll have to take my word for it, Lori. There's no.
Well, anyway, on the Island Summer, I had the same things happening. I didn't lose my manuscript, and I don't remember all of the spiritual warfare, but I remember it was a struggle to get that book turned into. So there seems to be a theme here. And I'm writing a proposal for a nonfiction book, and my mom had the final copy, and she was proofing it. And when she went to send it back to me, it became a read-only file, and then it disappeared on her computer screen. So there's something said for this.
There are gremlins out there. Actually, more seriously, we had something along those same lines. We experienced technical problems here, but most of the technical problems that we experience here are basically caused by my own unbridled ambitions, pushing the envelope further than perhaps the infrastructure that we have will support. But
Like the waterfall.
like the waterfall, I mean, I'm a little nervous because we're this is we had to kind of redo it to scale it down, but it's still when you see my eyes going over that way, it's because it's changing from green to yellow to red. Anyway, and it could melt down at any time. But I like living on the edge, and it's good to go fast.
At least it's not right before I turn the book in, so that we can't blame it on that.
Yeah, we got.
The book is already turned in.
All right, so you got through writing a Christmas-based story, but you were actually, when you wrote it, it was Christmas season, wasn't it? Kind of.
No,
No,
it was. I don't know. It took me a year to write it, but I was editing it definitely in the summertime. I think I was probably even in 2019, probably writing it in the summertime, and then I was editing again in the warmer months.
So we're talking about it now, and it just seems like Christmas is just an eternity away.
It's not, though.
Well, no, never is. But
No.
when will the book come out?
October 19th.
October 19th.
Just in time for the Christmas season, yes.
Okay. So between now and then, can you just kind of go, and that's it?
Technically, I could if I wanted to, but
You don't want
I
to.
am always writing something, and I'm working on my proposal, which I'm almost finished, and then I actually started my next novel. So
A proposal on the novel that
for
you're
my
going to start,
it's a nonfiction, yeah.
that you've already written, and then you're going to write a novel, or the
No.
proposal for the novel that you're going to write?
So for nonfiction, you just have to write a proposal. So it's about an introduction and 2 chapters or 3 chapters, and then you put together all of your social media platform and your back cover blurb, and it ends up, I want to say it's probably 70 pages. So, and then you have to do a chapter outline. For each chapter, you have to kind of give an idea where you're going with the story. And then you put it all together, you put all your sales numbers together, and they just look at the whole package, and then you send them that whole proposal, so you don't have to actually write the book until you sell it.
Right. One of the things that I'm learning in the creation process, working with the work that I do, if I don't have a clear vision of how this thing's going to look when finished, I can't do it. Is that the same true with writing?
Not for me. I'm kind of a combination between what they call a plotter and a pantser. So I lay out a basic plot, and now I'm writing a synopsis, and I have to write that. So once you get a traditional publisher, they want to see what you have up your sleeve for the next book.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to write a synopsis ahead of time. I'm not used to doing that. I'm used to doing that at the end. But so I kind of know where I'm going because I have written a synopsis. But let's say I didn't write the synopsis. I have this board, and I write all these. I write my plot points down on little stickies, and then I'll use different colors. I'll use pink for the woman, blue for the man, and I'll write my plot. Look, I know how generic, and I'll write all my plot points out so I know at a certain point my first plot point has to happen. Then I know, my inciting incident, my plot point, my midway point, and all my plot points I have written out. And then I will write on more stickies. I will write scenes to support those plot points, so I know how I'm going to get from A to Z in each plot. And I also know how many words. So if I'm writing, let's say, a 90,000 word manuscript, I know what point, like if 10% I have to have my plot point, I know where my word count should be. So I have this roadmap going through the whole thing as to where I am. I always know where I am. So then I leave myself freedom to then fill in, after I have a certain amount of ideas for each scene, I allow freedom to just make up things as I go. And those usually end up being my best scenes.
Really?
But I find that I have to have those plot points or I end up doing a ton of rewriting. And so to me, I have to know where I'm going. And then I always know where it ends because I write romance. So it's a happily ever after. But if I kind of know, I always have subplots in there. And if I know where I'm going with those, I can twist them all around because I know how they end. So to me, that's my system.
You literally use these?
I do. Little smaller ones, but
Oh, okay. Now you realize they're...
And then I can move them. I can unstick them and move them where I want to.
Okay, well, I'm glad. Now, do you use
And
the
then
super sticky or the regular? Because I use super sticky.
I guess just the regular. But...
Okay, you need to invest in the super sticky. Trust me. Once you do that, you're in. You'll never go back to regular.
Okay.
And given your experience,
I switched over to the computer, and I've been doing it on the computer. I made the spreadsheet of the same poster board, and that way I can copy and paste and move them easier and highlight them, make different colors.
Have you considered using something like this?
No.
Everybody thinks I'm a high-tech guy, and I am. but I use some very low-tech tools, okay? And here's another one.
I use
a pencil.
I use this.
Oh, yeah. Well, I have one of those, too. I have several of them. But I use a mechanical pencil because it never needs erasing. Never needs sharpening.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You just keep going. And I've got the little pink pearl erasers, so I always... But we literally, I keep notes there and electronics, because electronics can fail you, doggone it, I've never had a Post-it note fail me.
Well, that's true.
All right. Do you have a life outside of writing?
Outside of being a mom, working and writing, and no, other than going to the beach. Now, I would say I have a good work-play life because I go to the beach and I have fun. But it's a rare day that I don't bring my computer with me. But
you found a way to incorporate recreation and work.
Yes, that's true.
I have not figured that out.
The more times that I go to the beach, when I go down to the beach, I'm just collecting information and living that life, and then I'll just sit there and I'll think, what am I smelling right now? What am I seeing? What am I experiencing? What are these people doing? And sometimes I'll text myself notes and things, but I do like to have fun and just let down and
Do you ever walk
know.
around, the downtown area just to talk with the community and just get a feel of the local culture?
Yes, absolutely. Yes,
Go
and
to
my
all the
mom lives
shops.
there, so that
Yeah.
helps.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you got to go to the shops, I guess.
I'm
I
not a
mean,
big shopper, but
I'm not either. I buy
no.
stuff, but when I buy, I already have the criteria. I already know what I want. I have a list of
Yeah.
specifications, so I'm more hunting than I am shopping. I'm trying to find where can I buy this. I've already decided this is what I want, and it drives salespeople crazy because I'm impervious to their persuasion. No, I have forgotten more about the subject matter, ma'am or sir, than you know, and
That's
I just
right.
need you to, I've already done my homework.
So, let me tell you about my book that's coming up.
Oh, okay,
This book.
all right, this one,
Um, yes,
yeah,
I was prepared because you usually ask me.
okay,
So I wrote something out this time.
okay,
It's about an old farmhouse on the salt marsh, and it's about Christmas magic and finding old family letters from the Vietnam War up in the attic and uncovering family secrets. Ooh.
mhm. Uh-huh. I know a book. I don't read a lot of books, but I know a book that is similarly. It was literally inspired by those events that you just described, except they were true.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I know that book. And when that came out, I told her, I said, "Oh no, my book is so similar to this."
yeah,
But it came from my imagination and it's already written.
yeah.
I read her book and it is different. So
But in the book, it doesn't really go through that. The inspiration. But what better inspiration than it's almost like time travel. You know, um, and
I
if
mean, I can tell you a little,
well, you can tell
but
us.
I mean, it's about this woman who buys this old farmhouse, or she wants to, and she doesn't believe in Christmas, and the house is said to have Christmas magic, and she's just a real Scrooge, and she
Mhm.
relates to Christmas as being stressful family events,
It is.
and it is,
That's true.
and and in order to buy the house, she has to agree to host the heroes last family Christmas get together at the homestead, and she's a big Scrooge about it, and he agrees to restore the house, and in that restoration process, they find these old letters up
Uh-huh.
in the attic,
Mm.
and it allows him. They're actually the letters are from his grandpa that he never met from the Vietnam War, writing love letters to his grandma, and he gets to learn about the grandpa he never knew and more about his grandmother. So it's sort of like two love stories going on at once. It's kind of cool.
I. It's kind of fascinating. I can imagine. I know. I don't want to ask because I know you don't want to tell too much. Because it's. But that's a pretty good teaser. Do publishers have rules about how much you can talk about the content of the book?
No, they just I guess they just trust me not to say too much, but they do have rules about when you can show the book cover.
And then they
So, I
release
mean,
one.
obviously, it has to be in its final form before you
Yeah,
do
but when
this
they boo
reveal.
boo, that's no big deal. But no, God forbid they send it to you and you let the cat out of the bag or the genie out of the bottle, as the case may be. So, all right, so this
Yeah,
one's in the bag.
I've had this book cover for a couple months now, and they had told me not to reveal it, and then I asked them if I could go ahead and do that tonight, and they
Mhm.
said yes.
Okay.
So
Well, you just tell them there's only 10 people watching. It's no big deal. It's no big.
I told them that there were 6.9 million people watching.
Okay. I know, I
No.
know. I know where you got that number. I know where. And we. Nope. Nope. Keep that number in mind, folks. 6.9 million. Okay. That was a teaser. She didn't mean to do it, but that was a teaser. And if you
That's
want
for
to,
next month.
right, if you want to find out the significance of the number 6.9 million, you need to be right here, right there, pjnet.tv next month with Lori Hayes. Oh gosh, oh, it's been fun, Lori. I hope that you get some rest, and I hope you don't burn your eyes up again with highlighter chemicals, and but we always enjoy having you share. We can't wait to hear about the 6.9 million next month, so get ready for that, folks. It's going to be fun. But appreciate you sharing, Lori. Thank you for sharing the insides of the book and the behind the scenes stuff, and can't wait to hear more later.
Thank you, and you're the first ones to see it, so thanks for being my PJ Net family.
You are so nice to us. We appreciate it, Lori. All right, well, folks, there I am. There's my coffee. Folks, that was fun, and we are going to continue to have some fun. We have another guest banging on the door right now as we speak, and she will be joining us in just a few moments. So if you will just stay put where you're at, we'll be back in just a few moments with a first-time guest. But before I leave, I challenge you to ask yourself two questions. I ask myself these two questions almost every day. First question: what is the boldest thing that you have ever done for Jesus Christ? And the second one is, how long ago was that? I hope none of us will be satisfied with either answer.